Hello and welcome to another edition of After the Whistle. Let me get my words together. There was a lot going on pre-show. As you can see, it's officially hoodie season. So for the next couple months or so, you're just gonna be seeing me in hoodies. You're gonna see him in hoodie. He got his Lynn English hoodie.
Just had to remind y'all who won the state championship this past year.
Yeah, they going
to remind y'all.
They going for a repeat, and then I have to, notorious, because I am notorious. And we're gonna talk about a guy who wasn't notorious on Monday night, Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Woo! Is it time to hit the panic button?
Nah, man. When they play against the good teams, they're no longer the Browns. They're the Cleveland Skid Marks. So when they play bad teams, they go back to being the Browns. So once again, all they got to do is beat the bad teams. Yeah. You got to try to figure out how to at least look decent against the good teams, and you guys will be on your way.
Yeah, about them beating the good. So before we get into more of this game, so here is their upcoming opponents. They have the Seahawks at home this Sunday. They follow that up with the Patriots. Then they have to go to Denver. Then they got the Bills, the Bills offensively challenged, but defensively they can give Cleveland some problems. Then it gets a little bit. Then they got the Steelers, Dolphins. Then they got the Steelers again, Bengals, Cardinals, Ravens.
But out of those first 4 or 5 games, I can see them, if they play well, they got a chance to win maybe 2 or 3 of them.
They have a chance.
They have a chance. They're not beating the Pats, and they got a chance to beat the other teams. But not the Pats or who else you said, Seahawks?
Yeah, the Seahawks, Broncos. That's in Denver. That's always a hard place to play.
True. Yeah. But they're not playing. The Pats, they're not beating the Pats, I don't think.
Yeah.
The other teams, they have a chance.
They have a chance. But to this game, Monday night, so they start off, they give up an 83-yard touchdown run to Matt Breida, and their rush defense was non-existent. They just couldn't stop them at all. I think San Francisco had over 275 yards rushing, 6.9 yards per carry. You're not going to beat a team like that.
First of all, and you're not going to beat a team when they got 22 first downs, you only have 9. That just means you couldn't even get down the field.
Yeah.
So, you gave them so many more extra possessions, you didn't even give yourself a chance to do anything, and they forced 4 turnovers. You just gave them the game.
They really did. And then if you look at other stats, like Odell Beckham Jr., where has he been the past 2 games? It seems like it's a problem getting him the football. Mm-hmm. Last game he had 6 targets and 2 receptions. This game he had 6 targets, 2 receptions. That's 4 catches for 13 yards and no touchdowns in the past 2 games. And then he had that fumble at the end. Nobody knows what exactly he was doing on that punt return. But you might want to start trying to get this guy involved, because if he's not getting involved at some point, he's gonna explode.
Yeah, because their little 3-headed monster, you want to call it, like Mayfield went 8 for 22, 100 yards, no touchdowns, 2 intros. Chubb had 16 carries for 87 yards. He didn't get the ball enough. Then you got Landry with only 4 receptions for 75 yards. Who is the guy on that team?
What's their identity? And also, he had a QBR of 1.4. Now, I don't know how they do this. I apparently so. I don't know how they do these QBR stats, but 1.4 is not good at all. That's 1.4 better than me and you.
Bro, we could have went out there and did that.
I think Odell had a better QBR than him, and he attempted 1 pass.
Once again.
Yeah. And Baker, he needs to step up his game, because I'm looking at some of his stats. They say, so 55.9 completion percentage in the game. He's 33rd in the league in completion percentage. He's 47th in the league in QBR. He's had 22 interceptions in 18 starts. This is his 5th straight game with an interception. He's 28th in the league in touchdowns, and he leads the leagues in interceptions thrown.
Now, let's not just say it's all the Browns' fault, because the 49ers are pretty good.
Their defense is top 5 in every single category, every statistical.
And we were just saying, this is what happens when a good team, who's almost a great team, goes against a bad team. Mm-hmm. Just mollywops them, as you can see.
Yeah, because if you look at the 49ers, they're one of those teams where not a lot of people talking about them. They're 4-0, but people it's who they beat. But I mean, what I can say is Jimmy G, he's played a lot better. There were some throws in this game that he missed that he could have made. So he didn't play a perfect game, but he didn't make no mistakes, and he was a little rusty. He could have improved on some of the throws that he made. But their defense, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles recovered. They just didn't give him nothing.
Yeah, when you look at the box score for the 49ers, you can just see like there's not a lot of production in the offensive end, so you knew the defense was just killing these guys.
And then we have, I mean, Richard Sherman went Jussie Smollett on everybody. This guy, he made up. So after the game, he basically made up a story saying Baker Mayfield didn't shake his hand before pregame, and he was being extra. He was being extra, and then video footage came out of them shaking hands before the game. But you could see like the vibes between him and Baker is not well. But then he makes up this whole story about Baker Mayfield not shaking his hand, how it's Bush League and blah blah blah. And then I'm like,
they do know, like, we live in a world now where I get in the past, people lied on us and things like that, and there was no proof. But, bro, you can't just be lying just to lie. There's proof. There's video footage everywhere.
Especially in the NFL. They got cameras everywhere.
And just the culture we live in. There's cameras everywhere. Yeah. You can't even pick up your phone without seeing a camera on it. Hello?
Yeah, so my thing with Richard Sherman loves to hear the sound of his own voice. That's one thing. Richard Sherman, he loves to talk. Sometimes he's an extra. He just does the most at certain times, and sometimes it's unnecessary. I mean, we all remember the Michael Crabtree thing after the NFC Championship game, the Tom Brady thing. It's just like
maybe he wants to get back in that light. Because being with the 49ers, nobody talks about him anymore.
Maybe he's trying to give him and the team a little extra motivation. But maybe something like that you just don't say. And if you felt like maybe if you wanted to create that story, you just don't say it. Or you say it in the locker room, but don't say it to the media. Then he did his usual post game. Richard Sherman calling out the media about calling people idiots for not believing in the 49ers or having them not being amongst one of the top teams. I'm like, I mean, can you blame them? They were injured last year. Yeah, half the team was injured, so we don't know nobody knew what to expect from the team this year.
You can't call people idiots when they don't have any previous, you know what I mean? Yeah. Any previous evidence that you guys will be good.
Yeah.
Because last year you weren't that good because the head of the team was injured.
And he was injured himself too. Like, they had a lot of injuries. So, I mean, what do you expect? What do you want people to go by? Like, okay.
Yeah, he's just bugging.
Yeah, come on. Get it together. Get it together, Sherman. Stop lying. Stop lying. We already got a guy in DC that lies every day. Don't fall in that category. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on and we're going to get to the Patriots. 5-0. We all saw this coming. They made light work of the team in Washington. Team in Washington fires their head coach the next day at 5 in the morning. They called him to come to the facility at 5 in the morning. If you called me to come at 5 in the morning somewhere knowing I'm about to get fired, I'm not showing up. I mean, we could do it over the phone or something.
Yeah, you could just tell me now what's up.
I'm still asleep. Like, come on now, 5 a.m. At least it shows how much respect you have for the guy. But let's get back. Let's get into the Patriots defense. They allowed 220 total yards, 6 sacks, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery. That one big play Washington got, that was about it. That's about it. But other than that, it was just, a schooling.
And once again, they couldn't even get down the field. The Pats had 23 first down to the Redskins 11. And Sims Jr. had 1 carry for 65 yards and that 1 TD. But it's like you don't have a running threat at all.
They have nothing at all.
They don't have really anything.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they have talent. Washington has talent all over the place, but it's their culture. Their culture is just it's just seeping the life out of everybody. But Brady did his thing, but he did the usual Brady, what are you doing thing of throwing the interception in the red zone. He had like 5 guys coming at him. He just throws it up. I mean, at some point, you just got to take the sack. Just take the sack. You're in the red zone.
Brady ain't trying to hit the ground. He don't know if he'll get back up.
42, yeah.
So I fail him.
But don't throw it up. Throw it at the ground or something where you could, take a flag for intentional grounding.
And the Pats are just so good this year. He didn't care about throwing the into. Whatever. We're gonna beat y'all. We're gonna get it back.
Yeah.
They honestly, certain teams they don't take seriously. You could tell they don't take seriously.
Nobody takes Washington seriously. I mean, nobody takes them seriously. This is the Patriots' fifth time starting 5-0. in their franchise history. I believe they made the Super Bowl twice in that span. So
I'm hoping they lose at some point in the regular season.
Yeah, me too. But also quickly on Jay Gruden, 6 seasons in Washington, he made the playoffs one time, 35-49-1 record. See, here's some of the coaches he lost. Kyle Shanahan, who's now with the 49ers, Sean McVay, who's now with with the Rams, and it seems like those guys are doing pretty well for themselves after that. So he lost some great staff members, and him and the owner and GM it's a hot mess.
I like this brother's insight though. You seen what his brother said?
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, basically saying we all got fired. Welcome to the club. So basically telling him, helping his little brother understand that, yeah, you get fired, but it's not the end of the road for you. You get another opportunity down the line, but it might not be tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be next year. You'll be a coordinator somewhere. The Green Bay Packers, they went into this one. Nobody saw this score coming. They went into Dallas and they went up big on them, 31-3, and it seems like everybody's brought the Dallas Cowboys back down to earth after their hot start against teams that are combined 2-12. They've played 2 good teams the past 2 weeks, and they just have not looked the same offensively and defensively.
Well, when you give a team the ball 3 times, it's kind of hard to win. I feel like if they didn't turn the ball over 3 times, they might have won. Dak threw the ball for 44 times, but he had 463 yards and 3 into. That's another thing as well.
Yeah.
And
did you know that the Cowboys are 1-9 when Ezekiel Elliott rushes for less than 75 yards?
I could see that because it's not balanced, because you got Cooper, who had 11 receptions for 226 yards, had one hell of a game, but each monster has to contribute, and the part where they were missing was Zeke.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the Cowboys is I don't think people believe if you get up big on them, I don't think people believe that could lead them to a comeback. If you get up big on them, nobody believes that Dak Prescott could lead them back from a big lead. Maybe like if they're down 14-0 or so, but if they're down big like they were 31-3, it's only rare that a rare quarterbacks that can lead a team back from that type of deficit. But I mean, if you look at it, Aaron Rodgers didn't really have to do much. They did all their damage on the ground. Aaron Jones, 19 carries, 107 yards, and 4 touchdowns. They were just running up the middle.
And then he caught 7 passes for 75 yards as well. You know what I mean? And you had Graham who did his thing. But the reason why I said what I said about the Cowboys is because they had 32 first downs to the Packers 24. If you don't turn the ball over, you probably don't win the game.
And if you don't commit 11 penalties.
That too, I missed that part. That too. They kind of gave the game to the Packers to a certain extent.
And the Packers defense really, they put it on them. The Packers defense were getting after Dak. They weren't making life easy for him. And it seems like any quarterback's worst nightmare is a pass rush. And when you can get to the quarterback without rushing your linebackers, just with your front 4, then it's going to be a long day. And it was definitely a long day. Granted, Dak's stats look good, but you got to take in consideration they were down 31-3 at some point in the game, so they ain't got no choice but to throw it all over the place.
But to get paid, you got to put the numbers up.
You got to put the numbers up, but you got to beat the teams that.
Yeah, we get that, but you also got to have your running back do something out there. And unfortunately, he ain't do nothing.
They ain't do nothing as a team. They was just They were not balanced. They were outcoached, and Jason Garrett doing dumb challenges. He's getting a flag for throwing the challenge flag right in front of the.
But there's never a time Zeke should only rush the ball 12 times.
There's been a problem for them this year. They've been getting away from the running game this season, so they need to figure that out. They can figure it out with the Jets because you can just mark that as a victory. But the following week, I believe they got Philadelphia, so that NFC East matchup, that should be great. The Oakland Raiders have been playing quite the football. They've been playing better than a lot of people have expected. And this guy, Josh Jacobs, he had himself quite the game.
Yeah, man, 26 carries, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what Todd kind of needed because, relying on Todd is not going to get you there.
Yep.
Just because he got injured when they relied on him. So now that you got a nice balanced offense that you're still trying to figure out, it's definitely going to.
And he did this against the 6th ranked defense. in the league. The Bears' rush defense have allowed only 83 yards per game, and they was allowing teams to only score 13 points per game. And it seemed like the Raiders were doing whatever they wanted in this game. They were just they were marching up and down the field on them, moving the ball, but they made a consistent effort to run the ball. That's what I like. They made it, and Derek Carr, he didn't. That pass rush didn't affect him. He didn't get sacked at all. I mean, he knew when to get rid of the ball. There was no costly turnovers except for one on the red zone, which wasn't his fault. The receiver got stripped at the 1 yard line. But I like how the Raiders have been competing.
No, definitely. I'm a fan. But Chase didn't help him anyways, because throwing 2 intos, and then Montgomery only has 11 carries for 25 yards. Like, y'all got to figure something out. If you can't throw the ball, you got to be able to run the ball. You can't run the ball, you got to be able to throw the ball. You can't not be able to do both.
And it doesn't help that you fall behind 17-0 early in the second quarter.
And their wide receiver had 7 receptions for 97 yards, 2 TDs. Like, I would say he maybe should have targeted him a little more.
Just not turn the ball over.
That's always, the formula for success.
Yeah, because they did have a chance to win the game at the end, but the Raiders defense stepped up to the occasion. So, hey, man, get those wins as you can. Right now, they're second in the AFC West at 3-2, and the leading team in the AFC West, we'll talk about them, the 4-1 Kansas City's Chiefs, who were shut down by the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts defense really did a great job of containing Patrick Mahomes. Now, just for a disclaimer for the Chiefs, they are missing their starting left tackle. They're missing their number 1 and number 2 receiver. So yeah, you're gonna have games like this, but the Colts, they were missing 2 starting defensive backs, and they did not allow the Chiefs to hit any big plays down the field.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts had 25 first downs to the Chiefs 18, so obviously they got more stops than they needed.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the stops they needed, and honestly, man, they won this game because Holmes got injured, man. I don't want to hear that.
Hey, Mahomes got injured, but
hey, he get out there, so.
Yeah, and you know what the Colts did? They kept them on the sideline. 37. They possessed the ball for 37 minutes and 15 seconds to the Chiefs 22 minutes and 45 seconds, and they ran 74 plays to the Chiefs 57 plays.
But this also shows that you have to use your run game as well.
And the Chiefs did not.
No, because honestly, I felt like they've been pressing their luck and seeing how far they can go without needing to use their run game.
Yeah.
And now you see what happens. You put a lot of pressure on your quarterback and he gets injured. So you might want to relieve some of that pressure off Mahomes. We know he's outstanding cover athlete, but you might want to save him for the playoffs.
And those injuries, because he kept getting stepped on
twice.
Got stepped on twice. His ankle.
Same ankle. Like, come on now.
That's some bad misfortune. and you also look at the Colts. The Chiefs were 4 for 12 on third downs, and their yards per pass plays were 6.7, and they usually average around 9 point something yards per pass play. So it was the Colts game plan was really they executed their game plan, and the Chiefs running defense is suspect. So the Colts took advantage of that.
The Chiefs don't want to play no defense. Yeah, they known for scoring.
Yeah, they don't. At some point, they got to realize they got to need to make a stop.
It's like the Warriors of the NFL.
Granted.
I'm just saying.
On that note, we will go to Thursday Night Football, and this was actually an exciting game between the Rams and the Seahawks. Russell Wilson, I think he's going to be leading the field in the MVP race right now because he's been playing quite the football. He leads the league in touchdowns with 12. He had 4 on this past Thursday. Yeah, one crazy one to Tyler Lockett. I don't even know how he caught that. He kept his toes in and everything, but the Rams, these guys.
Goff should not be throwing the ball over 40 times. He doesn't do well. He always throws an interception when he throws over 40 times, right? Most quarterbacks do. Mm-hmm. And Gurley getting the ball 15 times for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. Why wouldn't you give him the ball 15 more times?
I have no idea what they're trying to do. We know you gave Goff that contract, but I mean, you just can't have him throwing all these passes. Let's just look at the past 2 games, how unbalanced they've been. So, the past 2 games, they've attempted 117 passes to 29 rushing attempts.
You ain't gonna be nobody.
You're not gonna be anybody, and Goff has thrown 4 interceptions to 3 touchdowns in that. That's not the formula to winning football. That
isn't a formula to get benched.
To get benched or to get hurt. You go 68 attempts and you cut it to 49 attempts. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. And everybody knows that Jared Goff is not their best player.
No.
The best player is Todd Gurley.
Told you, if your name's Todd, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, so it's. I don't understand what their mindset is, because I don't know any time I've seen Jared Goff play that's.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these teams look at the Patriots and they see Brady and how he's Brady, but you don't have Brady. So just utilize your tools and the weapons you have to be the best team that you can be. But all these teams that are heavy passing teams, you guys need to slow down a little bit and give it to your breadwinners. And are there fullbacks anymore in the NFL?
No.
Cool. I had this conversation with somebody like, what happened to Mike Allstott? So you guys want to use your fullbacks too. They might help you get some first downs.
I think there's only 2. One plays for the 49ers, and the Patriots got one, but I think he's hurt, Devlin. But yeah, there's no fullbacks. There's no fullbacks at all.
That's crazy to me.
And with the Rams now, they got another tough one. They got the 49ers coming in, so they're gonna have to bounce back, because that's 2 in a row they've dropped. And also, they got to give a shout out to Chris Carson for 27 carries, 118 yards. Almost dropped a wide open touchdown in the red zone. If he would have dropped that guy probably would have been cut, because I know I would have cut him if he.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, he was wide open. He gave a scare to some folks. But yeah, this is the Rams. The Rams, they need to bounce back and get back to their winning ways. Speaking of a guy who bounced back after being called out by his teammates, Kirk Cousins. Now, me and you, we talked about last week that the Vikings they need to start passing the ball and not just, relying heavily on the run. And Kirk Cousins answered that. He didn't throw an interception. That's all I'm happy about. He did not throw an interception. And I think the Daniel Jones little Danny Dimes thing has kind of, cooled off. I think you play in the top 10 defense, and he looked like a rookie out there.
And if you're a veteran QB, you don't want Daniel Jones beating you. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. No, you can't beat me now. Go work, Cousins out there, man. Going 22 for 27, 306 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you got Delvin Cook. This guy, I don't know anybody can stop Delvin Cook. 21 carries, 132 yards, 6 yards per carry. He's the engine. The offense, I think they realized the offense got to go through him, but that opens everything up, because you have 2 good wide receivers that can make plays. All Kirk Cousins has to do is not be dumb with the football, which plagued him his whole career, because he's, we saw it in the first couple games too.
Yeah, when you got Cook, the most you need to throw the ball of your Cousins is 30 times, the most, just because Cook needs them 20 to 25 carries.
Yeah. And if you looked at the first game when they won their first game, Cousins threw it around this 20, 23 times. They kept it in the low 20s, which is, I think they should keep it from 20 to 25. I think that's enough pass attempts for him.
You might need to do a couple more, man.
Maybe 28, but I think anything over 30 is that's just pushing your luck, because he'll just have a mental lapse and throw the ball up, and it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But the Vikings, they have a big matchup this week against the Philadelphia Eagles, that's going to be quite the game between those 2 teams. And we move on to Teddy Bridgewater continuing playing stellar, filling in for Drew Brees. And I mean, we're not too surprised, because Teddy Bridgewater was a starting quarterback at some point.
For real. He had to get accustomed to playing with the Saints, going 26 for 34, 314, 4 touchdowns and 1 into. Yeah. I'm not surprised by the into, but why is people so shocked at Teddy Bridgewater? because he was a backup. Like, he has that experience.
Yeah, and he got help from Michael Thomas. So he's showing that he was worth the money. He made some big catches. When the game was close in the fourth quarter, Michael Thomas made the big touchdown catch, even though the guy should wrap up right here. You got to wrap up on that. But that was a key touchdown in the game to put them ahead for good, to stretch the lead to 31-17 before the Bucks got another touchdown. But shout outs to the Rams, the Saints defense for shutting out Mike Evans. He had no catches in this game. Like, no catches for an all-pro wide receiver?
Yeah, because it was a Goodwin or Godwin.
Yeah, Godwin.
Had 7 receptions for 125 and 2 TDs. And Winston's playing all right, man. Like,
I think he must have heard us.
He playing like he wants to keep his job.
I think he must have heard us ever since we called him out after that. I think it was the second game or so. I forget which game, but yeah, he heard us. So, I mean, he's playing like a guy that's kind of figuring it out or has figured it out, which is good. And he hasn't turned the ball over, which.
And this is his 4th year in the league? Or
third or fourth.
So basically, he'd have been like a senior or just getting out of college.
Yeah.
So everybody's not, you know what I mean? No.
He'd be.
He's been his first year out of school, I think, right?
Probably.
Yeah, so it's like some people just take more time to figure things out. Everybody just doesn't get it right away.
Yeah, no interceptions is what I'm happy about. As long as he don't throw no interceptions. But this guy, Chris Godwin, he's really come out of nowhere. He's having quite the season.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure how to pronounce his name because I didn't know if I spelled it wrong. It should be Goodwin.
No, I thought it's Godwin. I double checked.
But now he's balling though.
Yeah, I think he's one of the league. He's on the top of the leagues in receptions. So far this year, he's got This guy, he got 6 touchdowns. I'm trying to look up his stats right now. Back-to-back games, 172 yards last week, 125 yards this week. He's got 6 touchdowns on the season. Like, my man is good. He's getting after it. And it's I think this is his 3rd year in the league, coming out of LSU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so shout out to him. His computer ain't working properly.
Well, wherever he's going, he needs to eat for free.
Facts. All right, Deshaun Watson. Now, everybody knows I've been critical of one Bill O'Brien because I think he is the Achilles heels to the Houston Texans, but Deshaun Watson had himself quite the game, tossing 5 touchdowns against it's the Falcons.
Yeah, it's 5 touchdowns.
But it's still 5 touchdowns with the Falcons. I don't know what's going on with them.
I mean, for one, the Texans were just overall, they were just way more balanced. They had 9 more first downs than the Falcons. You know, if you got that many first downs more on the team, most likely you won.
And it seemed like they just kept hitting big plays after big plays, and the Falcons defense were playing that Matador defense.
Yeah, and then Ryan throwing the ball over 40 times. Like, he's always gonna be a stat guy. 32 for 46, 330 yards, 3 TDs, but 1 in tow.
Matt Ryan is trash.
Yeah,
I've been saying he's trash for the longest. I think ever since the Super Bowl, that whole team, that whole franchise hasn't been the same since they gave up that 28-3 lead. 28-3.
I can see that. You know, I try to speak highly about Ryan because he's an Eagle. You know what I mean?
I try
PC
too.
Guy. But
I try too. But when you just watch him play, it's just like, what are you doing, man?
It's like, you know, he's gonna have at least 200, 300 plus yards, but they probably won't win.
Yeah. And Dan Quinn, their head coach, he is on the hot seat. You know, there's a lot of head coaches on the hot seat right now, and Dan Quinn is one of them. But you have Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, a nice young wide receiver. You guys should be a lot better than this. Well, maybe y'all need to figure it out on defense. But Will Fuller, 14 catches, 217 yards. I feel bad for whoever was playing against him in fantasy football, but this guy coming off a torn ACL last season. So,
3 TDs too.
3 TDs, yeah. Mm-hmm. So him and DeAndre Hopkins, these two stay together. The Texans got all the talent in the world. The problem is their head coach. Because at some point this season, I don't know when, but at some point it's going to be a crucial game, and their head coach is going to do something dumb that's going to cost them the game and probably cost them a playoff appearance or cost them a playoff win.
I can see that.
Because I've seen it before, running a Wildcat with J.J. Watt in the playoffs.
Well,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So Houston improves to 3-2. They're 2-1 at home, and the Falcons are 1-4. have yet to win a road game, which is not good. You need to win road games in the NFL if you want to be a great team, which the Falcons are not. Sorry, Atlanta folks. The Panthers have won their 3rd straight game, and I think they figured out that the offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. This dude, I don't know. I knew he was nice at Stanford, but some of the stuff he's doing now.
I'll be honest, man. I'm saying like I've been saying the past 2 weeks. Them switching one person out of the offense, sometimes a breath of fresh air. It don't even matter. Like when you after the game when you lose and your QB don't play well and you see him tighten up his scarf and doing all this extra stuff, that probably annoys you compared to just a guy who's coming in just to play. So I'm just saying, they 3 in a row.
All I'm gonna say is they realize that the offense runs better through Christian McCaffrey. The offense is running through Christian McCaffrey and everything's going smoothly. I don't know why they didn't figure this out when you got a guy coming off a shoulder injury and you try to have him do everything, which is pretty dumb. But Christian McCaffrey right now, I think he might be the MVP right now of the league because some of the things he was doing to those defensive players was pretty good. And their defense has stepped up too. They've been making plays in the past couple of weeks. They were getting torched the first couple of weeks, but their defense has stepped up, and also they're not allowing the big plays over the top. Granted, Minshew, the dude, he looked like
Dirk Diggler?
Yeah. Yeah.
I could say another name, but I don't know if they gotta bleep it out.
Yeah, Minshew, he's actually been he's looked great. I think what I like about the Jaguars is they're actually competitive. They're still competitive because last year everybody knew what the problem was. This year, that's not the problem no more. The offense is a lot better. Leonard Fournette, he was over 100 again. So they're playing a lot better than I expected.
Yeah, you can't have Minshew throwing the ball over 40 times with his porn mustache. Yeah. And the Panthers forced 3 turnovers. But the reason why I said about Mr. Allen is because, man, sometimes you're seeing a new face as a breath of fresh air. He didn't throw an into, meaning no turnovers. Meaning they were able to still progress down the field at an efficient rate. So,
Watching the past 2 games, Kyle Allen is not the long-term answer.
Oh, I never said he was.
He is not the long-term.
But he's a spark. He's a spark, man.
I disagree. I think Christian McCaffrey's the spark.
He's been there.
The offense just wasn't running through him. That was the problem.
Because now Allen's there.
Clearly, we have difference of opinions. But I need more from their receivers, though. Like, DJ Moore, 6 crabs, but Curtis Samuel, he was supposed to be, he was supposed to be one of a spark. He was supposed to be a playmaker. Jarius Wright, another guy, they said he might have an impact in the league. Greg Olsen didn't catch a pass, but Greg Olsen is always going to be around to make plays. But some of the younger receivers, I think those guys need to step up.
And Greg made enough plays early in the year for these other guys to start doing something. Because all we talked about was Greg Olsen being the only receiver.
He was the only guy that get open. He's the only guy to get open.
So,
the Baltimore Ravens have came back down to reality a little bit. Granted, they won against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they got away from what was working, and they started running the ball, started running Lamar Jackson more than they should, and having him throw a little more than he should be throwing. Because if you look at their early wins, he was throwing the ball like 20, 23, 24, 25 times. Now it's just like, bro, what are y'all doing?
When I look at the box score, I don't want to see my quarterback being my quarterback and my best rusher.
What do you got, 14 attempts?
Yeah, 14 attempts. Like, yeah, you 5'6", whatever, but 14? Like, you might as well just change his position. That's ridiculous. Like, and it's like you don't want him to end up like Cam, because he's not as big as Cam. He can't take that punishment like Cam could take for years at a time. And the boy threw 3 intos. You might want to let him hand it off to somebody.
One of those intos was just a great play by the defensive back.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
That dude just took it out the receiver's hands.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of what they're doing offensively. They need to go back to what they did the first couple games. Granted, the opponents wasn't great, but Mark Ingram is a good running back. Like he's an effective running back. They need to get back to her utilizing their running game, because I just don't have this guy running the ball this much times. All them hits is just going to take its toll, especially during the end of the season when it starts getting cold. It's like, ooh.
And like, just because he has all these tools and all these skills doesn't mean you have to abuse them. some of these people get so drunk with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With, oh my God, he can do everything. That's great. Don't let him do everything right away.
Right.
Let him figure it out. Like,
And we still got to remember, this is his second year. This is his second year, his first year as a full-time starter. So we still got to remember, he's still learning the NFL game. So you got to make it a little bit easier for him, because if they keep doing this, man, he might not make it through to the end of the season.
yeah, you got to allow your QB to also survive the season.
Yeah, because he's probably like, what, 200 pounds?
Maybe.
And all those hits add up, and it's like I don't get what the Ravens coaching staff are doing. But right now, the Ravens are in a good position standing wise, because they're on top. They're on top of the AFC North. But Cleveland's behind 2 and 3. It seems like it's going to be a 2-team race between them and Cleveland. The first team to 9 9 wins might win the division.
Hey, Cleveland, they set it up for y'all.
They do. They really did set it up for that. Maybe Pittsburgh might get hot, but I mean they've lost 2 quarterbacks now. One, Roethlisberger, he's done for the year, and then Rudolph, he got concussed, so he'll be out for a little bit. So and I think Paxton Lynch is going to be their quarterback this weekend. And the guy they had in this past weekend, I don't even know where they found him, but
Probably found in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
probably. And so there's a lot of question marks for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 1-4 right now, probably one of their worst starts to a season. And man, it's tough times for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't got no fantasy, no huddle this week, no Craig. Well, Craig will be back at some point next week. I don't want to talk about fantasy football. I think I'm 0-4. It's pretty bad. But we will go to Athlete's Corner, and on this Athlete's Corner, I went to Lynn English and talked with quarterback Mathias Fowler with his dreads and his Deion Sanders bandana and stuff. Welcome to another edition of Athlete's Corner. We're here at Lynn English. We're here at Keeney Park. Junior Mathias Fowler, he had himself quite the game the other day. We're going to talk about their victory over Gloucester. 3-1 on the season so far. You guys started off boom with the bang with the win in Swampscott. Little setback against Beverly, then bounced back 2 in a row so far. But let's talk about the first game of the season. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about that. Yeah, that game was cool. Was quite the game for you guys, right? So tell me about that one.
Swampscott, that game was really close, but it shouldn't have been that close.
Yeah.
Things like special teams, dumb mistakes, just like dumb mistakes on the team made it a close game. We should have definitely blown out Swampscott or been like a better game than that for us.
But you think that's kind of the Swampscott-Lynn rivalry because of that made that game closer than it should be? Because
I think it was like the atmosphere and like stuff like that. Dudes, first game of the season, everyone's feeling the butterflies, all that stuff. Yeah, and
you got in a new role this season. You were a slot receiver, a running back for your first 2 years, your freshman and sophomore year. Now you're a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, all that. What was your mindset going in, knowing that the coaching staff was throwing you in the mix to do a variety of things for the team?
It was different playing at quarterback, but we had long weeks of practice and it was easy to get ready for it because every day I was practicing like just basic things and being able to stay calm during like situations like that we were in at Swampscott.
How were you able to adjust? Did you play quarterback before this year?
I haven't played quarterback since like Pop Warner. It's just like I used to play a lot in Pop Warner, but 2 years off and then came back to it.
Yeah, did it kind of help you knowing the receiver position and then knowing some of the guys that you have, the connection you have? Did it kind of help you playing receiver and then transitioning, knowing where some of the guys, their go-to routes where they like the ball being placed? You kind of learning when you guys were in the receiving room or working out as receivers together?
Definitely, yeah. Playing receiver, like you just know when people are gonna break. You know, like how they're gonna get open when you're playing quarterback, and just having chemistry with my teammates. I know when they're gonna get open. Like I just see their route before they even like run it.
Yeah, definitely. Talk to me about the Beverly game. You guys didn't have the result that you want to offensively. You guys play as well as you guys wanted to. What was that game? Was it kind of like a letdown game because that first game you guys were so in with the victory, you guys had adrenaline, or was it kind of just like a small setback for you guys?
Just a small setback. I feel like we needed that game to like smack us in the face because Swampscott, we just barely made it out. That game was like we're able to lose and we're gonna step up from that. Like dudes were just tired and we took Beverly light.
We took a lot. And now we talk about bouncing back, the great bounce back against Salem, putting up 56 points on offense, hitting on all cylinders. You had Jesse Maggs fill in the quarterback as well. What injury? Were you injured that game?
Yeah, I came from an injury from the Beverly game because I couldn't finish the Beverly game because of a concussion. Okay. So I wasn't able to play on Salem.
Okay, so talk about the Salem game. What was clicking? What was clicking on the offense that you guys were able to put up that much points?
Our speed, like Salem, we were just hitting them over the top. Our strength, speed, we were just out physicaling them and stuff like that.
And what is that? Is that the strength of this team? The physicality of this team? You guys want to impose your will on opponents?
Our strength of this team right now, I feel, is our speed and like energy, but we need to be more strength. Like we need to have more strength and physicality, like going farther in the season. All
right, now, defensively, you guys back-to-back great games. Pitching the shutout against Gloucester, you guys. It started off slow in the first quarter, and both teams were kind of figuring each other out. And you guys got the first touchdown, then the turnover happens. And after they fumbled the ball, it seemed like you guys everything just picked up after they had a few turnovers. It seemed like you guys got it going offensively and defensively.
Yeah, right after the first quarter, we started gaining momentum in the second, and we just kept the foot on the gas.
Yeah, you were acknowledged by the Boston Herald as one of the players of the week for that game. You ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown, caught a touchdown pass, interception, a defensive play. Just talk about the all-around game that you had.
It's pretty sick to be able to do like receiving, throwing, all dynamics of the team, but it's different.
Does it make you feel good that you know that you did everything that you could possibly do in your will to help your team get that victory, to help your team play well?
Definitely. It makes me feel good that I'm able to switch positions to help us win. Like if Jesse Maggs, the quarterback, can like get me open and stuff like that, that feels good as a teammate.
Talk about Jesse Maggs when he fills in for you. You guys have two different styles, but talk about when he fills in. What's the element that he brings in that you might not bring, and what's the element that you bring in that he might not bring in?
What I bring in is that I'm elusive in the pocket, and if pocket breaks down, I'll be able to get out. But Jesse Maggs, he's able to throw dimes. He's taller in the pocket. Like even if it collapses, he's still gonna get it out and a good ball.
Yeah, and one of your receiving mates, you guys both juniors. You guys were on the preseason watch. Boston Herald, Todd Burton. He's been making big plays all season. It seems like every game there's just one big play. It's always him making a big catch, a big catch and run. It seems like every game he has a niche for making those big plays.
Yeah, definitely. Todd is always making big plays. I can always rely on him to make a big play.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's talk about upcoming. You got a tough opponent this Saturday in Revere. In watching film or in studying them so far, what have you keyed in?
Haven't keyed too many players like by themselves, but we just need to play together as a team for ourselves and just be more physical than Revere.
Yeah, and they're one of the top teams in the NEC this year, and this is a big NEC conference games for you guys because you guys got that path. What's it gonna take for you guys just to keep the momentum going with the consistency offensively and defensively? Because you guys got it going so far the past 2 weeks. So how you guys gonna be able to just keep that rolling in for this coming week?
Definitely, we just gotta play our own game. Don't switch because it's a big game, or like just play our defense, play our offense, and just rock how we rock.
And what should we expect from you? we expect another all-around game from you.
I don't know. I'm gonna do what I have to do. Like I can't even like tell what I'm gonna do. It's always different. Our game plan's always different. Just what happens and make it happen.
Yeah, and before we get, who are some of the other key players that you guys, that do the little things that for you guys that it may not show up, but they do the little things that help you guys get momentum, to help you guys get going offensively?
Our JV players and like our scout team during practice has been helping us get a real good look on like how the team we're versing during like on Fridays and Saturdays, like how they're gonna play. dudes like DJ, West, my receivers, they've been doing great jobs of blocking even if the ball's not coming to them.
Yeah.
Just being team players, everyone's blocking, like brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, they all watching you right now doing this interview. I think they're a
Right.
little jealous right now. But I'm going to let you get to practice. You guys got a big week. But,
Definitely.
hey, man, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Good luck Saturday.
Sir.
Get that W.
Definitely.
Athletes Corner, we out of here. And we are back. Thanks to Mathias Fowler for that interview. Catch them out. Check them out. Catch them out. What the hell? Check them out Saturday at Manning Field, 1 o'clock. They're playing Revere. All right, let's get into some NCAA football. This was probably the only interesting top 10 game of the weekend. Florida and Auburn happened down there in the swamp, and Florida snuck out with the victory. This was a tight game until LaMichael Pirine broke off an 88-yard touchdown scamper in the fourth quarter that basically stretched the lead to 11, and Auburn just never had a chance after that one.
Yeah, it was an overall good game. I tell you one thing. Whoever was playing for Auburn, that cornerback cannot cover Swain. Swain was abusing you, dude. I don't even know who you are, but I'm glad I don't. Yeah, Swain was killing. He finished with 6 receptions, 146 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah. It was bad. And Bo Nix didn't have a good game himself. He tossing 3 interceptions. This was kind of his first true road test against a top 10 team. Both Auburn ranked number 7, Florida ranked 10th, and you got to give it up to Florida's quarterback Kyle Trask. No interceptions. He threw for 2 touchdowns, and he basically did his job. And then the running attack for Florida, 130 yards from Pirine. Freddie Swain, 146 yards receiving. Florida as a team rushed the ball 33 times, so 132 yards. So, it's a good SEC matchup, And it's not like the Big 12 where it probably would have been a shootout. This was actually a good SEC matchup. There was some defense, there was some offense. You got the total package of this game, and this is a big win for Florida. They remain undefeated in the conference. Auburn moves to 2-1 in the conference. And Florida got a big matchup with LSU, number 5 ranked LSU this Saturday in Death Valley. So that's.
Where do you think Florida's going to be ranked?
Florida, if they beat LSU, they should probably move up to number 5.
They didn't move up this week?
I don't see it.
Cause I know they're still at 10, but I thought they would have moved up after the weekend.
Let's look at the rankings and see if they did move up. But if Florida, they're number 7 now. Number 7, LSU's number 5. So you got a number 5 team and number 7 team. And the top 10, if you look at the top 10, Alabama moved to number 1. Clemson, they haven't been looking good, so they're number 2. I think Ohio State should be ahead of Clemson because they've actually played a lot way better and consistent. Georgia and Ohio State are tied for 3rd. No. Oklahoma, Florida, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, and Penn State. And Oklahoma and Texas are going up against each other in the Red River rivalry this weekend, so this is going to be another implication for the college football playoffs. And also Notre Dame and USC will be facing off each other. Michigan State and Ohio State, that was no contest. Ohio State just ran through them. There was really not much to say about that game. Michigan, they played Iowa, and it was 10-7 was the final score. Yeah.
Rough college weekend. Rough weekend college
Quick
football.
Major League Baseball update. We are in the postseason.
Both series are tied.
Those terrible New York Yankees have moved on to the American League Conference Finals. Yeah, they swept the Minnesota Twins. But we got 2 do-or-die games coming up. We got the Dodgers and the Nationals, and we have the Astros and the Tampa Bay Rays. They will face off tomorrow. The Astros had a chance to win this game, and they just blew it. And also, the Braves, they had a chance against St. Louis, and they blew it, and they benched their best player in that game.
Yeah, man, I don't understand why they do certain things in the playoffs. I've been watching bits and pieces of each game.
I'm just trying to figure out why you benching your best players, and then their reliever comes in. They had the lead. They had the game sealed. The reliever comes in, and he blows the game. So the Braves had a good chance of just moving on to the next round. Now you're in this situation against St. Louis, who historically plays big in these do or die games, and if they lose, they'll just be like the curse in Atlanta sports will just continue.
And it's crazy with baseball. Like you can pitch a great game, and another guy comes in for you and blows it. Like that's a killer. That hurts your soul. Like
man, tell me about it. And also with the Dodgers and the Nationals, this is going to be in LA. I think the Dodgers will win because I think they have the overall better team. But I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes you just never know in postseason because some of the craziest things happens in postseason baseball, and it's just like what? But the matchup people want to see is Houston and New York Yankees in the AL East. In the American League Championship Series. They want to see that because of Houston's pitching.
Yeah.
And the Yankees, those guys.
I'm a Verlander in them, right?
Yeah, Verlander, Greinke. There was another guy, I forget his name. But you got the Yankees, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. You got all these guys.
So the big bats against the pitchers.
Yeah.
All right,
that's like.
See that. That'll be a great matchup.
Definitely.
I'm just stuttering my bad.
Yeah, we know our baseball around here.
A little bit.
We know it. All right, WNBA Finals. We got another do-or-die game. Game 5 is going to be happening. The Mystics and the Sun. They had a nice little back-and-forth game last night. And, there were big shots being hit everywhere. I think there was one point, it was the Mystics, the Sun came down and hit a big 3 to go up 3. Then the Mystic came down, hit another one, and it was championship basketball at its finest. And a lot of those women, woo.
Yeah, it's just the Sun had too much firepower. They were balanced. You're starting 5 players in double figures, and then with the Mystics, Della Dawn, I think one other person was in double figures. You know what I mean? The 2 other people, my bad.
They had the Mystic had 4.
Cloud and I'm talking about the starting lineup.
Oh, the starting lineup.
Yeah, Cloud and Atkins, so you know what I mean. When your subs came in, they contributed, but your other starters really wasn't doing as much as the Suns.
Yeah,
they were balling.
Yeah, Ellen Della Dawn got to come up big for this because she's the engine that makes that team go. I mean, only 11 points, 5 for 8, 1 for 2 on 3-point line. She was like her plus minus was -8. The thing that killed me, she only had 5 rebounds too. Usually she's like a walking double-double, and
she only shot the ball 8 times compared to another player shooting 14 times, another player shooting 12. You should be the leading shot taker on that team. And
Messy Man, she shot 11 times, or even like a person coming off the bench shot more than her. I don't know if it's a thing of her injury, because she did have that injury, but
I forgot about that.
But still. She's still.
It's do or die.
Yeah, and she's still the best. She's still the best player on the court. So there's. She got to touch the ball every time when they come down. But kudos to the Sun for actually, competing. The Sun, they came out. They were knocking them threes down. They were knocking them down. So I mean, this is another. We'll be sure to have a thrilling WNBA Finals series ending to see what it goes down. It all goes down on the 10th, which is tomorrow, I believe. So tomorrow, Thursday at 8 p.m. on ESPN, Game 5. Make sure to check it out because they've actually the series has been good. It's been really good.
And WNBA finals, their final series are usually good.
Yeah,
they're usually quality basketball. So if you don't support anything all year WNBA, at least support the finals.
Definitely. All right, quickly, Celtics preseason. These guys got back on the court for the first time this past weekend. New sense of joy with the Celtics. Everybody putting last season behind them. They're putting it all behind them. I think us as fans too is putting them behind them because
I already forgot about it.
Yeah, me too. I just don't want to live through that again. But you watch these guys play, and preseason is for the young. For this team, they kind of need it just so could rejuvenate themselves, just to figure things out. But man, there's a lot of talent. I mean, last year's team was talent, but this team, I think it's going to be easier for them just because they know what they went through last year for them to actually be committed and play and not playing ego basketball or hero basketball. I think these guys actually could make it work because there's some dogs on this team.
Yeah, they are. Well-balanced team. And it's like, Chris, they got Kemba. He's a superstar, but he's not like one of those prima donna superstars.
Yeah.
So now it's like it's more about the team rather than just about one individual.
Yeah, and Carson Edwards, I think he's gonna have a big impact on this team because this guy can shoot that thing. He can shoot that thing. He comes in and he just lights out. I thought when they drafted him, I thought he might be one of those guys. He might be G League or D League and going back and forth. But I think he'll have he might have a roster spot and be a contributor in the rotation.
I would say depending on what they need.
Yeah.
You know, they probably throw him in there at the beginning of the season. If he's not playing as much as they feel he should play, they might drop him down. But I think he'll be on the squad.
Yeah, all right. And Taco Falls, he's gonna be that dude. He's just gonna be a fan favorite. Anytime he gets in the game,
he need to get in the game all the time. You can't teach 7. Watch all these 7-6.
7, yeah.
Man, you can't teach that.
And he can do stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we just got a couple minutes. Zion debut. He had, he did what Zion did, and he was just dunking everything. He caught a poster, he caught a body. This Pelicans team is going to be exciting to watch. Very exciting to watch. I like their core. And Lonzo, I think we're going to see the full package of Lonzo because he kind of changed the jump shot and it looks a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that hard for him to change the jumper. I think he shoots from the side for when he started shooting at an early age, and he dribbles the ball, handles the ball a lot. So pull up, you can be able to shoot wherever you want. But,
I'm excited for this NBA season. All right, quickly, let's go to this week's top 10. If it's loaded in there, please, I hope it's loaded in there. This week's top 10, and then we're going to wrap up the show. All right, we're going to run through some of these games. First, college, a quick couple games. Miami, Virginia, who you got?
Miami.
I got Virginia. Oklahoma, Texas, who you got?
Texas.
Texas, I can't root. Florida State, Clemson?
Clemson.
Alabama, Texas A&M?
Alabama.
All right, NFL, week number, what are we, week 6? Patriots.
Why you been asking that?
Yeah, we got Patriots beating the Giants because there's a lot of injuries on the Giants. Lord help Danny Dimes. Carolina, Tampa, this is in London.
Oh, Carolina.
I'm going to go Carolina too. Seattle, Cleveland, at Cleveland.
I'm going with the Browns, man.
Going with the Browns. They're due for one, but I'm going with Seattle. Houston, Kansas City, at Kansas City.
Houston.
You going Houston? I'm going with Kansas City. I think they're going to bounce back. Washington, Miami. I mean, this is a pick'em.
Washington, man.
I'll just go with Miami just because they're home.
I can't root for Miami.
Philly, Minnesota, at Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Philly. New Orleans, Jacksonville, at Jacksonville.
I'm going to take the Saints.
I'm going with the Jags. Cincy, Baltimore, at Baltimore. Baltimore. San Fran, Los Angeles. Ooh, that's a good one.
49ers.
You going with the Niners? I think the Rams are going to bounce back. Atlanta, Arizona. Cardinals. Tennessee at Denver. Tennessee's a weird team.
Tennessee, though.
I'm going to go with Denver. No, Tennessee. Dallas, New York. Dallas at Jets.
Oh, Dallas.
Dallas. Steelers. Steelers, Chargers. Detroit, Green Bay. We out of here. Peace out. We got a forum tonight.